What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel.
What's up, everybody? This is Will. I'm super stoked. We're in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina, my new hometown. My buddy David. It's been 2 months of lots of texts, lots of conversations. I'll be honest, I'm a little sad because
Our friendship
it ends tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've had the real privilege and honor to kind of help support David on this tour with some playback stuff. But what I thought is I wanted to do a little rig rundown because we'll talk about the Ableton stuff. We'll do that. But David's an amazing drummer. I know a lot of you out there are drummers that have learned his parts, that know his stuff. So I'd love for you to even talk about the drum stuff. Like, obviously I'm not a drum guy, but I know a little bit.
Of course.
But can we start? Well, let's start with this. Before we even talk gear, what's your role for this tour?
My role for this tour, big one, don't screw up.
That's
Be
all
on
I
time.
roll. Yeah.
Be happy. No, I play drums and run playback for this tour. And I work pretty hand in hand in tandem with Micah, our MD. And so that's my role on this tour.
Okay, I promise. Last question, then we'll get to the gear stuff.
Yeah.
How important, because there's a lot of drummers out there watching, how important as a drummer is it to know this stuff?
I kind of added Tracks World to my repertoire, if you will.
Yeah.
One, because I got a little bored with just drumming. I wanted to challenge myself. And so I dove into Ableton. And I would say it's, even if you don't end up running playback, it's so useful to know. And honestly, your videos were like some of my biggest inspiration. So yeah, I think it would be, I highly recommend it. A lot of times the key guys will run playback and it's a lot easier for them to re-trigger sections. On this tour, I don't have to re-trigger any session or any sections. I pretty much press play and we go. But I do know how to troubleshoot a lot of stuff. I've gained a lot of trust with Brandon, with the tour people. It's a big role, but there's a lot of trust involved. But it's a good skill to have and to know. And there might be some tours I don't run it, and that's okay. But I could help if something goes wrong.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
It's a great skill to have in your pocket.
I love it. Okay, so let's talk kit. Can you tell us brand of kit, size of toms, all the sorts of details that drummers want to know?
Yes, I would love to. This is just a Franklin kit from the boys over at Franklin Drums. This is a 14x8 super brass. It's a Ludwig. There's a 13x9 tom, 16x16 tom, and another 14x5 Ludwig snare. And a little SPDSX Pro.
Yep.
Nothing special about this. I'm just playing samples from the pad, so I'm not running any kind of interaction, MIDI note, none of that stuff. That would freak me out a little bit.
Well, and I think it's important to know with this, like, you may get this and then you think, oh, it's got MIDI. It's connected to Ableton. Ableton can control it. And just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean you should, when I get to the Ableton, I'll talk about the relationship of tap tempo and tracks. But so Symbol added this guy, a little 20-inch China from Istanbul.
Rock and roll, man.
24 Dark Crash, 24 Joey Warnker Ride, and a 22-inch medium dark crash, and then 16-inch hi-hats, traditional lights.
Kick pedal.
Kick pedal, DW.
All standby.
DW 9000 stuff. DW 6000 hardware. Actually, I don't recommend this for tours because they get beat up, but I love them for studio stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's a cleaner look.
They look lightweight.
They're super lightweight, but they can hold big cymbals. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Sticks.
Sticks. I'm using these Jason Bonham signature.
Bonham's nice.
Yeah. I like these. Just they had a little more. I think there's like almost 3/4 of an inch more length.
Okay.
So a little more comfy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm just using this little Akai Mini Lab 25 key controller that's hooked into the Savant Playback Rig, and I just label everything what the song is. So it's kind of two-part. Big visual guy. So opener, and I can also see opener on. I'm using an app called AbleSet, and it just helps me. I can fly through the set and just shows me where I am in the set. And so I usually what I do is like, if we're like, the MD is like, all right, let's go to Honey in the Rock. So I just hit Honey in the Rock, and then my second check is making sure it's lined up there.
Yeah.
And then I'm good to go. And then I just hit play and we rip.
Yeah. And I think what's cool about this, to let people know, because there's different ways to do redundancy with AbleSet.
Yeah.
We're doing a redundant rig, so it's a Play Audio 12. We've got a Mio XM connected. But the way we're controlling both machines is they're basically operating independently. we're splitting MIDI here at the Mio XM that's going to both machines. So like when you press tear off the roof, it's sending that MIDI message to both computers, selecting it, and then we press play.
Yep, exactly. So, and I have a little foot switch down here under the snare. If I ever get in a pickle or something's glitching out, I can hit it and it'll switch to the B computer. And so I actually don't have to use my hands if I'm drumming,
great.
which is awesome.
And we have automatic redundancy as well, but
Yes.
you have that to test. You have
exactly.
that. Yeah, that's great.
So sometimes we'll set it up great, so I probably would never need that. It's just kind of like just a peace of mind probably.
Yeah.
For me. But yeah, so then we have this Boss DB90. So if we do any kind of spontaneous or flow stuff, which this tour we do a little bit. So Brandon, it's always like 90% locked and the other 10%, who knows?
Yeah.
Like it could be anything. So, and I don't love doing any kind of tap tempo stuff with Tracks World. I just let that be what it is. And then just do a tap tempo here and just fire click on a downbeat and that's it.
Yeah.
Really simple.
And again, not to interject, again, it's certainly possible to set up Ableton to do tap tempo. It's
you
like
probably teach a course on it.
Yeah, but I love the beauty of like you've got this rig set up to where you know what you know.
Yep.
You can fly on this really quickly.
Yep.
Because I think what people don't get with this is it's not just this.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, we were just doing LTC checks before. It's,
Yep.
hey, jump to this part of the song.
Yep.
And it can't be, okay, give me a couple minutes.
Right.
It's like, no, do it now.
Yep.
Do it 5 minutes ago. So
Yep.
for you to have that, to know it, to in the moment fly,
Yeah.
and it goes to a separate DI. It's like an isolated unit that
Yep.
just happens to be sitting here.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Ableton stuff will absolutely help me with this. I wanted to do something new out here. We talked to Brandon about doing like a little DJ setup on a B stage where he can kind of fly through sections of a song by himself, put on a filter. So we're running a MIDI line. Maybe Will could talk about it. I just know we're running a MIDI line all the way out to the middle of the arena or the stadium here, and it works.
Yeah, and we'll put some pictures in because the rig's torn down now. But back at the end of where that stage ends, Brandon is literally using a MIDI controller, sending MIDI over a long distance. We're going over an XLR cable to this. We've got two JL Cooper MLA XLR boxes that's then going into your Ableton rig. And
Yep.
Brandon's doing some cool stuff. Maybe we'll do a breakdown of how we set up AbleSet. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's some cool stuff happening. And then probably the most important part of this rig for this tour is we've got these beautiful lights, these incredible screens, and you're in control of them.
Yeah.
Like it or not.
Like it or not. So again, like everything is lined up. We gave our lighting guys reference tracks so they can listen to the exact arrangement that we do, and then that's what we play, and so they can line up lighting cues. But yeah, it all comes from right here. You can fire everything. I also have an emergency like stop the tracks, but it'll keep guides and lighting going.
Yeah, that's
so it's like an emergency, kill the tracks, but you can keep the lights kind of going. So one little trick, I guess.
That's great.
I also updated computers. So these are like, I don't even know what they are. They're big boy computers.
Trying to remember. I'll pull up the specs.
Yeah. I mean, I had to kind of upgrade my knowledge and my gear, essentially.
Yeah, that's good.
Just because the room's got a lot bigger, and I just wanted to, Will help me make sure there was redundant on every single thing we do. So even the MIDI controller out there, we have a backup MIDI controller, we have backup cables. We have a backup, this guy. So anyways, we're set up. I'm like, knock on wood, like nothing goes wrong tonight. It's an awesome setup.
Great.
It's really simple and it works for a drummer. And works great.
And last piece I want to mention, so the way we're doing time code, because this sometimes mystifies people, is it's literally an audio channel in Ableton that goes out of your interface into a distripalizer, which is a new piece of gear for this tour, that just cleans up the signal. It gives us a meter to see, a readout to let us know where things are. And then that hits audio land, which gets to video, which gets to LD, which gets to media server, all that. Like I want people to get, that sounds crazy and complex, but you press button, press play, and it goes.
Yeah,
and that's
it goes.
it, which is really cool. Well, dude, it's been an honor to be a part of the tour.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to sit here and enjoy the show tonight. This is gonna be super fun with my family. How can people find more about you, follow you on the gram or all the places? Or wherever you want me to follow you, the TikToks.
TikTok. No. Yeah, just my name, David Whitworth, if you want to. You can follow me, whatever. I will say this, if you're a drummer, you're a musician, a keyboardist, vocalist, whatever, if you're any kind of person that works in the church world or music world that runs tracks on stage. Will Doggett from Studio to Stage is your guy. He's the best in the business. He can help me. He helped me like essentially have job security in this world, and he can do wonders. So thank you again for all your help on this tour.
Thanks for bringing me along.
More than that, you've become a good friend of mine now,
Yeah,
and I loved our time together. And so yeah, thank you.
Yeah, dude, it's been an honor. Thanks for having me. You guys make sure to check out David's stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, wherever you're watching, like, subscribe, you know the deal. Yeah, thanks guys. We'll see you on the next one.
This is David Whitworth. Here to just talk a bit about my experience with Will. And